on gaming. I have to say this right now, okay? I'm a little fired up after the things that I've seen this morning on Twitter, and I put it like this. People, it's not just the things that I've seen all week, okay? But just this morning on Twitter, I want to say this, okay? Because for those who don't have Twitter, I would say if you want to see mass amounts of ignorance, mass amounts of hate, mass amounts of just people just being stupid and lying, go on Twitter, and you'll find it with no problems. No, matter of fact, no, don't go on there. Your brain will probably explode from it. Please, it's horrible. It really is. I'll put it like this. I want to start off by South by Southwest. For those who don't know, we talked about this a little not too long ago. And as we know, I talked about how, these people that are so-called in our community, I don't even want to call them social justice warriors. I don't. Because these people are just vultures. They come out to play every time, and I've shown you before, people like Arthur Chu have said, I'm making money during these speaker fees, so I'm all good with all these problems. Because if you find a solution to all this, or if people say, hey, look, okay, we can meet a common ground, this all goes away. It goes away for them. This is their way of staying relevant. So for those who don't know, South by Southwest was going to have these panels for gaming, apparently for gaming, and I put it like this. First off, I don't think that gaming needs to be at Southwest. That's just me, in general. I don't think that we need to be there, all right? Once again, it's just another hook to, trying to get to the mainstream at this point when it comes to our, to our hobby. And as we know, we don't need the mainstream. We have been doing this for years. We have been playing video games since 70s, 80s, depending on where you're from. And, back then, it didn't need any mainstream appeal. You went to arcades and you didn't need South by Southwest. You know what I mean? But, lo and behold, the vultures have come out. And, people like Arthur Chu, Brianna Wu, Randy Harper, Chris, I like to call him Chris Clueless. They're getting their panels together and all. And they're like, oh, we're going to be there. And at one point, they found out they were going head to head with each other. So it was a big problem. Oh my God. You know what I mean? But it goes to show you that's what this is about for them. It's vultures. They need to try and stay relevant. So, with that being said, because I have to ask them, like I said before, with all these people, when they sit here and say, I'm going to have this panel, I'm going to do this, out of all this time, it's been, over a year now since this whole Gamergate thing has happened, name me one time any of these assholes, one time any of them have been positive towards our community. One. Name me one. They haven't. Exactly. So, with that being said, okay, as we see now they've handled themselves, on interviews or debates and things of that nature, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. They end up, going into, insults and actually, trying to downplay and actually, the serious, place. They downplay the seriousness of the debate because they can't win the debate. And then they want to act like they won something from that. We've seen that, with Chris Clueless and Mercedes, and when she absolutely fucking destroyed him. But that's not the point. The point is, South by Southwest has now decided, that they were going to have anti-Gamergate there in their panels, and they were going to have Gamergate there as well with their panels, right? They're going to have two different panels because, equality, fairness, that's what it was going to be, right? And then we found out that somebody, once this was all, announced, somebody put out some threats. And with that being said, South by Southwest canceled the panels. That's right. They canceled the panels, and it was kind of odd because I have to agree at one point where if you're having a panel that specifically is going to talk about overcoming harassment, okay, and you cancel that panel, that's a problem. However, I understand South by Southwest, what they're doing, because, look, you're going to have more people there than just for those panels. So I understand it's the safety of the masses as opposed to just, people on those panels talking about it. I get it. However, I feel as though it was a bad decision on their end because, let's be honest here, nothing's going to happen. Nothing has happened, when it comes to these threats. I mean, look, we know that they're third-party people who are doing this. We know that. Or you can go the Arthur Chu route and say, it ends tonight, and then something happens. But the fact is, we know that this shouldn't be taken seriously. However, these, of course, when you're responsible for so many people, you have to take it seriously. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a little upset the fact that they decided to cancel it, but there's another part of me that says, you know what, it's fine, let them cancel it. And I put it like this. With that being said, when this is canceled, all right, Anita Sarkeesian comes out. I'm going to call her Medusa, okay? Because that's what she is. She's Medusa. She is the nucleus of all of this, all right? That makes everything go. Every other little character that you've seen pop up now or follow her, they're just snakes in her hair. That's what they are, okay? I told you before, if you destroy the head, the rest of it will go. However, she comes out and says this about South by Southwest. Let me get this straight. You want them to reinstate your buddy's panel, because let's be honest, that's what they are. Your buddy's panels, talking about harassment, but then you want them to apologize, all right, publicly about letting Gamergate have their opinion. So you pretty much, anyone who's against what you have to say, or even have just regular, just difference of opinion in general, you want to silence. That is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? It goes to show you that this is not about equality. This is not about women in tech. This is not about, including women more in video games. This is about, hey, I and my people, when it comes to our narrative, we have something to say, and if you're against it, you should be shut down. That's exactly what this is. How the hell is that That's not even close to being mature, Anita Sarkeesian. It's not. But you know what's worse? The people who message her, and these pillars that so-called, these so-called pillars that everyone look up to, when they message her, and they sit here, and they compare your difference of opinion when it comes to either harassment, like I said, either harassment, or when it comes to, ethics and journalism, your difference of opinion now somehow turns out that you're a rapist. You can't be that stupid. Please tell me you didn't go there. Look, I can feel my IQ just dropping. You've got to be fucking kidding me that you're sitting here comparing people who have a difference of opinion when it comes to harassment or, ethics and game journalism to rape. You're sitting here and saying it's like making, having a rape victim sit down with their attackers. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. Not whatsoever. Look, someone needs to take these people back to school, and say, look, this is the difference between sexual assault, and this is the difference when someone disagrees with your opinion. That's what needs to happen at this point. You can't be fucking serious that you actually went here. And not only that, alright, but you really do disrespect rape victims by doing this. Look, I put it like this. I'm going to read the second one, alright? To someone who's been raped, wow, have you thought of meeting up with your rapist? Maybe forgiving them, maybe even marrying them. What? Are you seriously? That's where you want to go? You've got to be kidding me that you're trying to spin this into a rape narrative. Because as you know, it has nothing to do with it. Nothing. It is not a comparison. Alright? That is you overreacting. That's what it is. And you being overly dramatic. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Because people have a difference of opinion on ethics and journalism and or harassment that you're going to sit here and call them rapists. That's disgusting. Mind you, these are the same people who support pedophiles, though. Same people. But it gets worse. Ernest Adams comes out. That's right. Ernest Adams comes out again and says this about South by Southwest. What victims? I want to know, what victims? And Ernest Adams, this is the same Ernest Adams that talked about he wanted to get rid of big boob bimbos, right? And the IDGA said, wait a minute. He's our founder. We don't agree with him. This is the same Ernest Adams that ducked my challenge when it came to Skullgirls, because of the women's. And it's the same Ernest Adams who likes to talk shit on Twitter, but has his tweets protected. That's right. And then says if you want to contact them, what you're going to have to do is email them. So you have a Facebook page that no one can get to you about. You have a Twitter that you just talk shit and no one can contact you with. Seriously, what is the point of having Twitter if you're not going to talk to people who reply to you because you protected your tweets? You, sir, are a fucking coward. That's what you are. But you're going to sit here and say the South by Southwest, they should be ashamed of themselves. And then once again, you say, well, you know what? Maybe you should have it. I want to make sure I get this right. Why not just invite the Klan along to harass your black attendees? Stop trying to speak for us. Stop. Did you not learn anything? And here's the thing. He goes on to say that There's not two sides to the issue. There's only one. Muggers and rapists don't get to prove their point. Put their point of view. I want to know, within all of this time that we have seen Gamergate and all these things happen, who has been attacked? I mean, physically, nobody. Who has been mugged? Nobody. Who has been raped? Nobody. Where are you getting these accusations from? That's what I want to know. Because I want to see some proof that someone has been mugged or raped. Show me some hard proof. Show me a report. Something. I haven't seen anything. I see a bunch of people on Twitter bitching and moaning. That's what I see. Or, if you bitch and moan enough, somebody will pay attention so that you can talk on a panel. And still bitch and moan at the panel. That's what I've seen. I haven't seen anybody get into any type of physical altercation. I haven't seen anybody been taken upon their will. I haven't seen anybody be robbed, mugged, raped, nothing. But yet you want to sit here and make these accusations. See, it's things like this that kills your credibility. It's things like this that make you look like a fucking wacko. It's things like this that make me say, you need to get the fuck off the internet and go out into the real world. Because I guarantee you, if any of you sat here and talked to any rape victim and told them, look, Gamergate is about harassment, and we compared it to rape. Don't you think that's, the equivalent of it? I guarantee you that rape victim would lay you the fuck out. It is absolutely ridiculous that you people would go this far. You show how disgusting you are. And this is not, you're not doing the right thing or in the essence of, social justice, equality. No, this is you being fucking mean-spirited at a community that obviously you don't know anything about. It goes to show you, for these adults, just how pathetic they become. And it pisses me off that they want to sit here and say, we should have a healthy dialogue, and then you go and pull this shit. How can you sit and ask for people to be mature, and then you start calling people's muggers and rapists? That's absolutely disgusting. And yet, when these things are said, no one corrects each other. No one. Within their own little camp. Yeah, they're muggers. Yeah, they're rapists. Yeah, they'll go out and assault somebody. Yeah, you're fearing for your life. So am I. What? Like, it's almost like these people don't go outside. Seriously. If you've never seen someone, seen an actual rape victim, or seen someone who's actually been robbed, or seen someone who's been physically assaulted, it almost makes me feel as though you have no experience and you're trying to talk it. It's almost like you get everything from fucking TV. Or maybe from video games. That you just now stumbled into because, let's be honest here, a lot of you don't even play fucking video games. And that goes to show you because in the Sarkeesian, that Assassin's Creed Syndicate review, yeah, we know you don't play fucking video games. You've got to be fucking kidding me. This is the shit that, like I said, it's disgusting. It's immature. And anybody who thinks that that's okay, you need to really, you really need to seek help. Because that's not healthy at all. Just letting you know that. If you want to be an asshole, then fine. You're being an asshole. But at least own up to it. But other than that, if the things that you're saying, if you really, in your heart of hearts, believe that people are being raped and being mugged because of a difference of opinion on ethics and journalism, and you don't have any proof to show, what? What the fuck is wrong? You know what? No, we want to say that for later. The fuck you should. We'll say it for later. Let's just move on. Seriously, I just want to move on. YouTube Red. Gotta talk about it. For those who don't know, many people online are having their videos blocked, gameplay videos blocked, gaming videos in general blocked because of YouTube Red. Yours truly was just hit, over the week, my old King of Fighters video that I put up, that's been up for years? Yeah, that was taken down due to YouTube Red. Because remember, YouTube said that none of the smaller YouTubers would be impacted by this move because they want you to spend $10 a month for ad-free blah, 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 blah subscription. How did that work out for Tidal, YouTube? I'm just wondering. How did that work out for them? Did it? Exactly. Look, the fact is, you've got to be kidding me that you would start taking down videos because of YouTube Red, because you want to give people a better experience. You sat and told people that this would not affect them. So meaning, you fucking lied. And then when people are saying, look, there's a backlash to this because the link will be in the info bar, the people from YouTube said, well, you know what? We're not worried about backlash because most gamers have already, signed on. There's other gamers who say they feel as though they've been coerced into this. So they're not happy about it. And yet YouTube is going to sit here and ignore, once again, the smaller YouTuber. I've said it once, I'll say it again. YouTube does not care about anybody here. They don't. Unless they have like millions and millions of subscribers, they don't care. It's that simple. Don't tell me you have money to try and buy out Twitch. Don't tell me you have this type of system to roll out a system for, subscription-based, for YouTube Red, but yet you still don't have a call center to help your partners. You still don't protect your partners. YouTube does not give a shit. Just like, as I'm doing these videos, this was said, when you try and monetize, fuck that. I do this because it's a hobby and I feel as though I have something to say. And because you people keep asking for me to keep doing them. So I'll keep doing them. But other than that, fuck YouTube. Things were a lot simpler in 2010 before all this bullshit happened. Not everyone could monetize at one point. Not everyone could be a partner. Now anybody can monetize. Now they want you to pay, so ad-free stuff. How about this? How about, like I said before, we didn't even need ads. We didn't need them. And people fought against that. And then all of a sudden, when people found out they could make money off of the ads, then everyone was for it. Now you're giving them an option. Well, now that everyone's for ads, now, hey, now we can try and sell you something for a subscription a month, X amount of dollars a month, so that you don't have to watch ads. It's called ad blocker. That's what it's called. Unreal. Anyways, I want to move on. Fuck YouTube. Let's move on. Tekken 7. Fighting game community. Tekken 7 is coming to PS4, as we know. Not that big of a deal. Also, Yipes. I want to talk about Yipes real quick. Yipes saves a man from being hit by a train, but won't make Defend the North because of injuries. Hey, that's a hell of a thing. I'd say, Yipes did a good thing, because you don't hear much positive news these days when it comes to the FGC. So, Yipes actually going out of his way and saving somebody from being hit by a train, that is very honorable. And even though his injuries, he can't make something that, hey, that I don't see why anybody should be disappointed that man went and did a good deed, in real life. Not this old bullshit on the internet where we can sit and do... No, not going there, not going there. Yipes did a great thing. Also, in Street Fighter news, Street Fighter 5 has been confirmed for February, alright? Also, here's a problem. Street Fighter 5 has been data mined already. That's right. And they show a number of characters that's coming, and people are so pissed off. Not only because of the data mine that's going around, because of all the leaks, but the fact that now they're saying that DLC characters are on the way. Now look, I think we kind of knew that was going to happen anyway, due to the fact that the area already talked about, the characters, they're going to give you the old costumes and things of that nature. They're going to DLC it up for you. And a lot of people were saying that, a lot of this stuff is going to be in-game. There are so many things that are going around, I'll say, rumors and speculation, that DLC characters are a thing. And if you give Capcom, if you look at their history, and you give them their due, it's kind of hard to ignore. It really is. We'll see if they stick to their word, but the fact that it's been data mined, I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see all the characters so far that have been data mined. It's not looking good. It's not. People are very upset. Very upset. But I want to move on. They should be even more upset by other things, and I'm going to get into that. Xbox One backwards compatibility gets a November release date, which, that's fine. That's what we're going to do. That's fine. No complaints there. PSN could be adding these most wanted features to the PS4. I got to talk about this, all right? I have a real problem with this, because they're saying, by you fans, they put out a survey, and they're saying, by you fans were demanding these features, and this is what you'll probably get. So, joining PS2 Classics will be PS1 Classics, okay? That's what they're talking about so far. To appear offline, so that you're not bothered when you're playing online. How about this? Maybe if you didn't put, and I say this to companies in general, not just Sony, all right? But maybe, just maybe, if you didn't put always online for everything, you wouldn't have to worry about that. People should be able to play their games offline. They shouldn't have to log in all the time. Just saying, okay? With that being said, I want to move on because there's more. Oh, there's more. They're talking about, your libraries in order to compress things and lock things up. There's a lot of people who are still upset that the PT demo was gutted. And as we know, when the PT demo was gutted, it actually hurt a lot of people's, PSN. It kind of messed up all their systems, and people were pissed off. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't play their games. They couldn't do anything, all right? I want to move on with that because there's more. There's more options, all right? They're talking about assuming that those exist, there's, install for new games. They want to be able to change their PSN name, which to me isn't that big of a deal. I put it like this: if that's what you want, that's what you want. But it's really not a hot feature that you need. You know what I mean? Also, custom backgrounds. Custom backgrounds. So let me get it straight. With all these being said, you gonna tell me, gamers, that you didn't ask for all your PS3 digital downloads to be transferred over to the PS4? You didn't ask for any of that? You didn't ask for better stability when it comes to the PS4? You didn't ask for that? You didn't ask for better security when it comes to the PS4? Didn't ask for that? Are you sitting here saying that this survey, and if we're going by the survey, these are the only options they gave you? You know what that is? That's leading. That's what that is. You can't tell me that you sat here and said, I'm going to click on this, and that's okay, because that's the only options they gave you. Then you don't fucking answer them. How about that? Because they give you another, and then they give you a little box that you can type in and tell them what you feel. But gamers didn't do that now. You want custom backgrounds and name changes and also downloading your own avatar, you know, those type of things. Are you telling me that's the only thing you could fucking come up with? With all the problems that the PS4 has, and we're not even talking games, we're not going to talk games, but with all the problems that the PS4 has, and that you pay for, that's what you asked for. Get the fuck out of my face, this old bullshit. Then you wonder why the state of this shit is all fucked up. You know, like I said, it's up to consumer demand, and this is what you asked for. Unfucking real. Let's move on. More Sony news, alright? Sony doesn't have any PS Vita games of its own in development. No. Everything else is third party, but it's focused on the PS4. That's its priority. Now, why I feel as though it's okay to focus on the PS4, when you come out with a product like the PS Vita, you also have to give it attention. Remember, that's the whole thing. You want the home entertainment system, you want the mobile piece, so that you have an overall market. And then you're going to tell me with the PS Vita, we've seen this throughout history. The PS Vita started at a very high price. They had to keep knocking down the price. Now you're going to sit here and tell me that you have none of your own games, your own first party in development. You're going to hand it over to every third party. And you've got to be fucking kidding me, Sony. Because it tells me that you're quitting on it. And that you just screwed all those people, unless they're happy with all the third party stuff, that you're not showing any backing, and you screwed them on the product. Mind you, you discontinued the PSP, the PSP Go. There was a 3,000, whatever, 1,000, 3,000, the PS3 Go. I mean, the PSP Go. Yeah. Fuck you, Sony. But there's more news, because, focusing on the PS4. There is talk that Sony might release a high-performance PS4. That's right. More memory, more GPU, and more CPU. Also, an Ultra HD. Ultra Blu-ray HD, whatever. Now, with this being said, mind you, people are upset about this. Link will be in the info bar, and the comment section is turned into fanboy wars. You've got to be kidding me that this is real. Because I'm going to give Sony the benefit of the doubt on this, because if it's real, then I have to ask you, what the fuck was the point of bringing out the PS4 if you're going to come out with a higher performance of it? What was the point? That's right. You wanted to rush that next gen with no games. Yeah. Like I said, I'll give Sony the benefit of the doubt and say that this is fake until we see this high-performance PS4. Because I swear, if this shit is real, then everyone who bought a PS4, you just got fucked. This is not like one of those things where, they make a smaller version, a slimmer version, for better performance optimization, things of that nature. No, they're talking about putting in bigger and better pieces. And then saying, this is our new PS4, this is what you should go get. That's literally fucking you over. You early adopters. Just saying. Let's move on. Super Mario Maker. That's right. Gets an update. It adds checkpoints. That should have been in the beginning. I don't know how Nintendo made this Mario Maker and said, hey, we don't have any checkpoints. And you're just not adding checkpoints. Do you understand when you were playing a trolling Mario Maker board, and I've shown in the gameplays, as you know, the videos are up. I say it myself. Where's the fucking checkpoints? And these checkpoints, when you are playing a trolling-ass board, that's trial and error, okay? And you gotta always start from the beginning all the way back, that's stupid. There's no reason why you need to do that. Nintendo's just now giving you this checkpoint. It's a free update, which is fine, but just now giving you this checkpoint. So, okay, whatever. Also, speaking of more Maker news, Legend of Zelda has a maker. That's right, a fan created the Legend of Zelda maker. And just to let you know, they've already had to change the name due to cease and desist. So it's going to be called the Legend Maker, even though it's Legend of Zelda. So, let's take a look at that real quick. almost reminds me of Growl Online, but you know what? I'm for it. Seriously, at this point, bring them all out. Zelda, Legend of Zelda maker, Mega Man maker, like bring them all out. As far as I'm concerned, seriously, I'll day one buy. I'll buy them just to have fun with them. Also, if this is the route that we're going, we saw it with Little Big Planet, we're seeing it with Mario, you bring out all these other ones, Metroid Maker, please, Metroid Maker, I would love to get my hands on that. But, with that being said, we gotta go back to the original bad boy of all this. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, PC, seriously, where is my RPG Maker? Where's my RPG Maker? Seriously, give us the options, give us the tools that we need that we can make a spectacular RPG. And I'm not just talking, 8-bit or 16-bit. At this far into the game, into the generations, we should be able to make PS1 quality RPG makers. We should be. I'm just saying, okay? And I know some of you are going to say, well, some of those do exist when it comes to the PC, yes, but there's also console fans that don't want to be left out. So while I'm okay with it with the PC, you have to be kidding me that console fans are being left out. Like I said, RPGs were a big staple in the PS1 era and the PS2 era. You still have fans to this day who want JRPGs or just regular RPGs in general, when it comes to consoles. So by all means, give them what they want. Seriously. Like I said, those type of makers, I'll buy with no problems. Seriously, especially with the hardware that you have now, I'm not trying to hear it's an impossible task. I'm not trying to hear that. I want to move on. This is the portion where we talk about, what the fuck was you thinking? That's right, we're going to get to it right now. First one off, Harmonix employees have been posting 5-star reviews for Rock Band 4 at Amazon. They admit this. What the fuck was you thinking? Let me get this straight. Harmonix, you have done great on Rock Band 1 through 3, okay? Great games. I supported you, okay? This Rock Band 4, haven't seen anything on it. I see a lot of Guitar Hero commercials on TV. Don't see anything for Rock Band 4. So you're telling me you had to get your own employees to sit and talk up the game itself? Are you serious? Rock Band employees, Harmonix, and look, Harmonix isn't known for being this shady, but the fuck was you thinking? As far as I'm concerned, I won't be supporting you on this one. Yeah, I put it like that. You should just stick to Rock Band 3 and just keep pushing those updates out because people still love that game. Oh, I forgot. You want to move on from the PS3 and Xbox 360 and bring it over to the PS4 and have people, blah, blah, blah. I get it. You fucked up. Anyways, let's move on. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, that's right, rolls out 2 patches. That's right, to squash bugs. Ubisoft, the fuck was you thinking? Once again, you come out and make a game, or should I say, rush an Assassin's Creed game, or I should say, any game this previous, 2 years, that you've come out with, and you've rushed it, and now you've had to patch it. I mean, this is the same company that fucked up Tetris. What the hell? How do you glitch up Tetris? Watch Dogs. You know what I mean? Like, everything that you've touched in the previous year to year and a half has been shit. It has. Can you not see that, Ubisoft? Or Ubisoft, however you want to pronounce it? What the fuck was you thinking? Especially knowing that you want to sell Assassin's Creed after fans told you, give it a rest because you're bringing them out too much and you still ignored your fan base and you brought Ania Sarkeesian along to sit around and talk to the people there and, have a tour and everything. And then she made a review, which wasn't even a review. Let's be honest here, it wasn't a fucking review. And then you turn around and you do this. Every time you make a game, you gotta come out with a patch, or 2 patches, or 3 patches. The last time you came on Assassin's Creed, the people didn't have any fucking faces. What the fuck was you thinking? Let's move on. Ubisoft, again, claims they invented women in games. Yeah, they invented women in games. Now, before anyone says, what? Yeah, I know. Apparently, this wasn't Ubisoft. Apparently, it was Victoria Atkins' PR firm, who sit here and says that Ubisoft, they claim that, they invented women in games. So it wasn't the spokesperson for Ubisoft. The company said they have nothing to do with it. This is their PR thing. Okay. Since not too long ago was Back to the Future Day. How about this, all right? Because Victoria Atkins PR, get in the DeLorean, right? Go back in time and go play Miss Pac-Man, okay? Then after that, go play Metroid. Okay? I'm just saying. You can't sit here and say that they made the first playable female character. Stop. This is what happens when you have PR firms that have nothing to do with fucking gaming and they speak out of turn. Stay in your lane before you get bodied free and lose your credibility. The fuck was you thinking? Anyways, let's move on with more of that, okay? Uncharted. They're adding microtransactions to its game. That's right, this is the multiplayer. It says, all items can be earned with an in-game currency. Okay, so, Naughty Dog, I have to ask you, what the fuck is you thinking? Because if you can earn all this stuff in-game in multiplayer, what's the point of having microtransactions? Don't tell me you're trying to cater to the casual gamer who doesn't have time for that. Because you know what? You're setting up a system that almost sounds like it's play to win. I'm sorry, not play to win. Pay to win. That's what it sounds like. The fact is, you don't need microtransactions for this game. It shouldn't even be an option. It's just like Uncharted 1 and 2, or say even 3, on multiplayer. You really don't need this stuff. As long as you're playing online and having fun, the stuff will come to you as it goes, right? That's how it is. Look, you've got to be kidding me. I'm going to play this. Anyone who's ever played Uncharted multiplayer, all right, whether it's co-op or adversary or whatever, they have their horde. It's sort of like horde mode when you do the co-ops. Unless it's the co-op story. You have to understand that there's no reason for this because you're so engrossed in fighting and teamwork. That stuff just comes along as it goes. It does. There's no need for microtransactions. It almost makes me sound like I said, not only the fact that you're trying to cater to the lazy gamer, because that's what I'll fucking call them, lazy, but it almost sounds like you're kind of desperate and you need some money. That's what it sounds like. Anyways, the fuck was you thinking? And the mother of all, what the fuck was you thinking this week? Gotta talk about this. Actually, you know what? It's not the mother. Yeah, no, it is the mother. I still have one more accurate, but still, let's get into this. No extra chances in one life game. Now, for those who don't know, this game One Life, all right? First-person shooter, all right? You go around, adversary, you're shooting people. Here's the thing about One Life. You only get one life. So if you get shot in this game and killed, you're done. Game over. You don't start from the beginning. No. You're done. Your account is deactivated, suspended, it's done. Unless you pay $10 to make another account. That's right. Or so that's what we're hearing. So, One Life. These people made a game where you only get one life. In a first-person shooter, as we know, when you're playing adversary in first-person shooter, you'll get shot, what? Every 5 seconds, maybe, in a first-person shooter. Are you fucking kidding me that if you get killed in this game, that's it? It's game over? Why would I waste my time playing this game? Why? You're not giving me an incentive to play other than it's first-person shooter, but if I die, that's it. You think I'm going to pay extra money just to get another life back? The fuck out of here. The fuck was you thinking? I hope your game crashes and burns. Anyways, in more news. Link will be in the info bar for that one. In more news. The fuck was you thinking? Inafune. What the fuck was you thinking, Inafune? I'm just wondering. Because for those who don't know, Inafune, he promises no further Mighty Number 9 delays. Right? Which is like, okay, that's not too bad. And then he talks up the sequel. Are you serious? So the game is delayed. The demo was delayed. You have all this shit. You're trying to get the anime done. And that failed with the Kickstarter. You make a second Kickstarter for this shit. And then that's done. People are just very upset at this point that they backed it. And you want to talk about a fucking sequel? Seriously? That's what you want to go with Inafune? You know what? The fuck was you thinking? I don't get it. It's almost the stupidity. The stupidity. But you know what? Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel of all this. Maybe. Okay? I don't want to talk about that right now. Square Enix, we talked about this week after week. Square Enix is planning on remaking more of its classics. Now, I'm going to keep a little, eye on this one because they're saying remaking. Not remaster, but remaking its classics. So they're talking about, Vagrant Story, things like they said they want, their gamers to relive those, classics, and hopefully they'll be great. Square, what took you so fucking long? Like I said before, you can't survive just off of Final Fantasy. And the fact that when I said that, and we're seeing this now happen, goes to show that I was right. You've got to be kidding. I shouldn't just say I was right. I should say a lot of people were right. Because you know what? That fan base, they're clamoring for those other games. That Parasite Eve, that Brave Fencer Musashi. You got to be kidding me, man. You've got to be fucking kidding me. It's Square, you've been sitting on gold mines. I believe I did a video about this, I want to say at least 3 years ago, where I showed all the Squaresoft games and all that stuff. And it just boggles my mind how you just didn't catch on. Till now. Oh, I forgot. You're doing it now because everyone else is doing it. So now you feel it's safe, that someone else has tested the waters. Now we can come out and do it as well. So as far as I'm concerned, this isn't about the fans, because if you did it for the fans, it'd have been done a long time ago. You're doing this to save your own ass. Anyways, let's move on. Sega, once again, I'm wondering, what took you so long? Sega is looking into re-releasing Shenmue 1 and 2. And we talked about this when Shenmue 3 was announced, did we not? Because I said, this is your time to make some money off of it. You should have brought it out. Fans have been saying this for years. You should have brought it out. And what happened? You didn't bring it out. Now that, you see the buzz around Shenmue 3, now you want to try and, and jump on Shenmue 1 and 2. As we know also, Sega said they wanted to bring out a number of PC ports for older games. So we'll see what's going to happen with this one. But once again, you're not doing this for the fans, Sega. You're doing this to save your own ass. That's what it is. Because like I said, if you listen to the fans, this would have been done a long time ago. Anyways, one more piece of news before I'm done. An arcade, Nanuet Arcade, is in trouble. That's right. For those who don't know, this arcade is going under. They have classic games, overseas games from Japan, and it needs, I believe it was, they need quite a couple $1,000s. And I believe last time I checked their GoFundMe, they were like $425 in, something like that. So I don't think that this is going to survive unless gamers really, come together and help. I would love to see companies, somebody come along and say, hey, we'll give you all this money, you know what I mean, and partner with you or something. As far as I'm concerned, because I play this, we see companies come to the aid. Inafune, when Red Ash was dying, what happened? A company came in, an animation company came in to help. You know what I mean? We see companies help each other all the time. But what brought you to the forefront, what the arcade scene, which made it possible for you companies these days to be around, it seems like you just forgot about them. You're just going to abandon them. If it wasn't for arcades, you wouldn't have this. I would love to see companies step in, because you can't always ask gamers for help. I understand that we're a community, we help each other as much as possible, but the community doesn't always have that, going on. Not to mention, you have gamers, there's a lot of gamers, I should say, that really don't care about arcades. I don't care. A lot of gamers don't care about the community either. I don't know why you're in the community if you don't care about it. But it just goes to show you, when you have arcades like this that need help, I really feel as though companies should help out, should help out. Like I said, there could be a partnership program where, hey, if we help you out, we'll bring in, our games and that, make sure, they get top billing or whatever. Something like that. There has to be some type of deal that can be offered on the table. Not to mention, we can also say that, maybe there's people who, they don't even know this arcade existed. Or maybe it's gotten so, arcades have had so much negative stigma behind it, or, they're taboo because of what's being said in the press for so long, for so many years, that people won't decide to go. I mean, there's a number of things that are against arcades. You know what I mean? And if you look at the timeline now, console games, PC games, it doesn't matter. They're all saying the same thing. First it was arcades are dangerous. Now it's console games are dangerous. You gotta look at it for what it is. Look at it for what it is. It doesn't matter whether it's an arcade or a console or you're at a convention. You have to understand, games are what brings us together. And it seems like a lot of people just, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Like, seriously, man. Like, I'm done. Because as far as I'm concerned, this shit, it feels like there's no point in trying to help. And I'm not saying towards the arcade. I'm saying, not to you fans, I'm saying when you sit and you see all the positive things that gamers do, and it's not just myself, you see a number of positivity in gamers, whether it's in video, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, regardless. There's so much positivity within our community, and it gets overshadowed every fucking day because you have some fucking clown who decides they want to sit and talk about the negative things, or you have some asshole who decides, okay, well, this is how I'm going to act today, and that's going to reflect badly upon our community, but I don't care because I'm having fun. Just fucking done with it, man. Seriously. For every person that acts like an asshole, you know what I mean, or try and push this negative narrative that we talked about in the beginning, if you would just take the time out to reach out to people and talk to them, this would be a whole different story. But of course, you don't want a solution. You don't want a common ground because it keeps you in the papers or on the sites. It keeps your name relevant because without any type of conflict, there's nothing to talk about. People just can't play in peace, right? People just can't have fun and that's it. It's always got to be something. Always. It's absolutely ridiculous. If I play Grand Theft Auto and I punch a guy, You know what I mean? In all the spirit of fun. Do you think I'm just going to go outside randomly and go punch somebody? No, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But if I do it in a video game, apparently that turns me into a killer, misogynist rapist. I'm just fucking done, man. And the thing is, I blame these panels, I blame these fucking idiots who actually believe in this shit, and I blame the companies. Because you're letting them dictate what the fuck to do. That's what you're doing. It's not one thing where you're saying, oh, well, you know, okay, maybe we overstepped our boundaries and maybe someone's putting us in check. No. You'll let a person come in and railroad you and be like, yep, yeah, we should feel bad about ourselves. That's what you do. Did you forget what this was all about to begin with? To escape reality? Did you forget that? Did you forget that at one point gamers, I should say even today, because they're showing it today, that gamers are, you know, they're still taboo. It's still bad. It's bad to be a gamer. From the arcade days up till now, they have called you every name in the fucking book. Today, you're muggers and rapists. Goes to show you. I'm done. No, fuck it. I'm done.